Well, gentlemen, we're here to talk about this little Texas Star 350 HDV, high drive variable. Faceplate's in immaculate condition. The push buttons are in immaculate condition. We just got to clean this up a little bit. It does have black labeled transistors on the inside. We're going to change those out. We do have a burnt trace over here, which is completely fried in two, which I thought was really odd because the power wire that came in went to here on the opposite side of the trace that's burnt. So we need to repair this trace. This diode, I don't know what the deal is there. We'll take that out. That doesn't need to be there. Reattach the stock diode, which does a great job. We'll add a little bit of a power wire upgrade to go from here to here. We'll put coarse power wires in it. It had these in there, which is technically sufficient, but they're too short. The solder work in here is deplorable, so we'll fix this all up, get this all cleaned up, make sure the preamp works, make sure the keying transistors work, make sure the sideband delay switch all works. Don't need to straighten the face out or nothing. Heat sink's in relatively good shape. The tin does have some holes where somebody decided instead of buying a bracket to mount this thing, it was better for them to just drill holes and zip, 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 and then put the cabinet on it. So clean the cabinet up a little bit, the tin on that, but for the most part, pretty straightforward and in fairly decent condition. It also has been modified to work on exclusively AM only. As we can see here, the bias has been clearly modified. And we need to reattach this over to this trace, which will take care of that here pretty quick. And we'll get it back up and running. I don't know what these transistors are. If I look at them in just the right light, I can see they say DEI on them, so therefore I can't trust them. So we'll put two brand new HGs in there and we'll get moving. Let me do my thing. We shall return. Boy, this box had a lot of problems. So this one resistor should be like a 1.8 ohm resistor. And it's just floating. This resistor is what controls the bias. And with that being open, I have a feeling that and the trace being burnt, the way it was wired, I'd be surprised if these two transistors are even any good, because it had 12 volts dropped right on the input on it. Now I see why they had it biased class C. Let's see what we got. Oh no. Yep, I know. Shorted. I know. Ooh, beta gain of 8. What are they? We don't know yet. We'll find out here in a second. And this one's got a beta gain of 8. So technically still good transistors. I would never use them, but I'm saying technically they're still good. Let's put this out of the way. God, this little cardboard box is about ready to fall apart. Me and this tester have been all over the United States with each other. It's my like don't leave home without it tester. And this poor piece of cardboard's just dying on the vine here. It's sure seen a lot of parts. Okay, so maybe I got enough carb cleaner to pull this off. These are definitely, yeah, these are Chinese parts. These are DEI's 2879 1530Qs. Which don't get me to lying to you about what those part numbers mean. Well, we'll set these aside. Figure out something to do with them. All right, let's put some new pills in this thing and, pardon me, we'll put new amplification transistor control circuits inside and we'll we'll do all the other magic little bits. All cleaned up, ready to go. Let's see what we can figure out here. This thing had a lot of problems. And I mean this seriously, like this thing was a mess. It looked good on the outside, kind of like those girls we used to date back in high school, but internally it had some problems. It had bad transistors in it, number one. The bias resistor was blown open, this little blue sucker right here. Then the relay, I had to pull this off and clean the contacts because the relays are so screwed up. And then I repaired this trace over here that was blown, put new power wires in it, reattached the flyback circuits. The input capacitor on this, it showed up, okay, lay back up. I put the power wire to it and I go to start keying it up and operating it. And the relay would sit here and go and then really super fast, right? Normally when that happens, what it is the input standing wave going into the amplifier is so high that there's too much energy coming in the opposite direction and it overloads the transistor. So the transistor's sitting there going, and the relay isn't going to go, okay. So first thing I went and I did is I changed out this capacitor. I pulled it off and tested it. And when I pulled this off, the value should be 1200 picofarad, and what ended up being here was about 690 floating, depending on if you got the soldering iron too close to it or not. So we put a new 1200 puff capacitor here, and the relay went from going to the input tune capacitor, which is a 471 capacitor, 471 picofarad. This little capacitor has gone open. It now reads 10 picofarad. So I replaced it with a new 470, and man, this thing, a lot of problems went away. So then I started moving the variable around, and the old variable that was in here had notches in it, where somebody has overdriven the snot out of this box, and there was like a break here in the knob, and another one here, and another one here, and really the only place it worked was wide open. So put a new variable in it. Yeah, repaired the diode. It was just a mess. This box would have never worked, and it was way more intense than, oh, we're just changing out some transistors, right? So got a good couple hours into this thing, making sure that it's really ready to go. It sure cleaned up pretty on the outside. I mean, faceplate is mint, right? A little bit of soap and water, clean. So power wire upgrade, new transistors, new variable in the front, changed out all the lights to LEDs across the front, figured out the input tune issue, figured out the relay issue, sideband bias works, all that kind of stuff, fixed the bias in it. This box was a wreck. Looked good from afar, but when you got up close to it, butterface. So let's start here. We're running the Bench 2950. We got our 1000 watt in peak, 1000 in average, 5 watt slug in reverse. So I can get rid of that underwater. We don't need it anymore. We'll put it back over in the rack. 1111. So, hello, 111111. So now we're going to show you the ability for the RF to pass through the box. This is really important for your receive and also your ability to talk with the amplifier off. 111111. RF is passing right through and making it down to the dummy load. Hello, 11, with no problems at all. So first, we'll start out with the dial-a-watt engaged. Hello, remember we're on 12 volts. Keep that in mind, we're on 12 volts. Back this up just a little bit. Hello. Dial-a-watt's working perfect. Take the select-a-watt or dial-a-watt out of line. Hello, and 2, just short of 300 watts. The input on this actually came out really nice. Hello, 111111. Hello, hello, hello. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay. So that was on 12 volts. While we're waiting for the voltage to come up, preamp is obviously working. Now our voltage has come up. We'll go back down on the dial a watt. Nice and smooth. And what I'm doing is I'm turning the knob. And what I'm demonstrating is that this thing is working linearly. It's nice and even. So I turn the knob up, the power goes up nice and smooth and comes down. That shows it that there's no burnt spots in the potentiometer. I mean, it's brand new and it's an upgrade. I don't know what I did. I think I threw the other one out already. It's this little shitty blue thing that barely could do the job. And anyhow, this is a much better resistor. So we'll go ahead and we'll pull the dial a watt out. Got a 11. So with a 1 watt carrier, we're getting about 75, 80 watts key out of the box. Audio, solid 400. Solid bird 200. So we'll go to sideband now. We're going to activate the sideband delay. And with this particular version of the Texas Star, the sideband delay is here in the back. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. This is a 30 watt only drive amp. 1 2 1 2. Everything is working perfectly. So we'll go back over to AM so we can demonstrate the delay working other than just what I did. And delay off. Very simple, right? I think so. Kind of between a rock and a hard place. We got a little bit of money in this amp as far as the repair goes. And I know that we're upside down on the box a little bit in price, but at the end of the day, we got to see 350 plus the ride. It's that simple. You guys know the drill. If you need me, that's the number. Call me, text me, send up smoke signals, whatever. Shoot a flare, come bust a cap in my butt, whatever you got to do. Big shout out to Penna, XS, Sigvent, McMahon, Bird, Coaxial Dynamics, all of you. Special thanks to the Patreons. And like I said, it'll have brand new hardware in it and it'll be ready to go, well, as soon as you see this YouTube video. So somebody give me a shout. We'll get her on its way to you. All the buttons are still intact. There's no damage to the meter. The heat sink's in relatively good condition and short of having a couple little holes in the lid. We're in great shape. Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in. On to the next one. I'll see you. Click, click.